Traffic jams are the bane of a driver's life, and new figures reveal they're costing the economy £9 billion every year in wasted time, excess fuel and high carbon emissions.
Roadworks are partly to blame, and ITV News can reveal that Birmingham is the worst place in the country for overrunning works, racking up an extra 19,000 days. Charlotte Cross reports.
Sitting in the glare of brake lights has become business as usual for drivers in Birmingham. What should be a short trip through the city centre takes several times as long as it should. And motorists have had enough.
Nightmare to get round. Takes a long time to get round every day.
It's been getting worse. We've got roadworks happening just up there where they've knocked down Paradise Forum, and it just seems to be gridlock.
Can put an extra 45 minutes, an hour on the journey that's already an hour and a half long already, so that makes it like almost unbearable.
The city is the worst in the country for overrunning roadworks, losing 19,000 days, more than planned. In a statement, the council said utility and roadworks schemes can overrun for a wide range of reasons, but the council and its highways partner AME will always seek to work with organisations who need to carry out works to ensure they're done in a joined-up and timely way whenever possible. But this is just part of the story. When there's a crash on the motorway, it can be hours before traffic is flowing again. Last year, the M6 was shut for almost a full day after a fatal crash between a car and a lorry. Improvements were ordered back then, but time and again, motorists say long queues are making their lives a nightmare.
Terrible. I'll generally get the train because the motorways are unacceptably bad.
And when it's very, very hot, that's a bit of a nightmare, and you need the loo, and you've got children crying in the back of the car, that's pretty horrific.
The government has now ordered improvements, but in the meantime, the daily commute is looking very much like this.
And Charlotte joins us in the studio now for more on this. £9 billion a year is an extraordinary figure, isn't it?
Yes, I think that actually took a lot of people by surprise, the sheer scale of it. But that does include people being late for work or missing work entirely, components not making their way to factories, goods not being delivered, that sort of thing. Now, there has been some work to try to improve this. As I mentioned just a moment ago, the Police and Crime Commissioner in the West Midlands held a meeting last year after the tragedy on the M6. We spoke to him today and he said he does think things are getting better, but of course there is still work to be done.
And Highways England have been great. They've cooperated very well with West Midlands Police. We're handling incidents much better than we were years ago. Now, what we've got to do is get that practice spread throughout the whole of the country, but also we've now got to get the local authorities in the area working much more actively on dealing with the traffic on the local roads when there's a hold-up on the motorway.
Now, his point that he'd made just there was actually one of the things that people have been saying to us today, that when there is a problem on the motorways, people cut through Birmingham. And with the ongoing roadworks, that means that the city pretty much comes to a standstill. It's a difficult problem to try to tackle. Really, the best way is to try to cut down the number of cars on the roads. That might be where campaigns for improvements to public transport or cycle lanes, that sort of thing, might come in.
Charlotte, thank you.
Meet hygiene inspectors working in